Hey guys, welcome back to Affordable. Now today I got a different video for you guys. Obviously the last couple of videos I have been doing has been about players that are joining the clubs like Barcelona or PSG, but today I want to talk about the players that are going to end up leaving the clubs. Especially I'm going to start with Barcelona. They're obviously not big name players, but there are some, I would say, young talented players, and some of them that are kind of more than that have bigger roles in Barcelona, but there seems to be kind of in their way out of Barcelona. So having said that, let's get into it. And the first player I want to talk about is Sergio Roberto. Now I have talked about this player before in other videos where I have said that obviously Sergio Roberto is not really happy with the things that are going on in Barcelona right now. Obviously I think that the addition of Paulinho into the club kind of makes him feel even worse, just because how much competition it is in the middle of the field in Barcelona right now. Before Paulinho, he already had Iniesta, Rakitic, and Sergio Busquets, Denis Suarez, Arda Turan, Rafinha as a competition, and now on top of that you add another player that you pay 40 million euros and that more than likely you're gonna try to use him. I think that obviously doesn't make Sergio Roberto feel good about his situation in Barcelona. That being said, the positive thing about the Sergio Roberto situation for him is that there's some clubs that are actually after him, like Chelsea and Manchester United, that'll be willing to pay his buyout clause, which is not really that high. It's only 40 million euros, and 40 million euros for a player that is only 25 and that has shown that he can play obviously in a big club like Barcelona and do it well like he did last year. I think honestly is making it for a really good deal. Honestly, right now I feel like Sergio Barça is going to end up leaving the club. I think also the club doesn't see it that negative. They kind of feel fine about the 40 million euros for Sergio Roberto. So we will see. Definitely for me, it will be the biggest loss the Barcelona will suffer, besides obviously the Neymar loss. Just because I feel like Sergio Roberto is a solid player and is a solid talent that knows how to play the Barcelona style, basically grew up in that style. So definitely I think Barcelona is going to suffer losing a player like that. Now moving on to a different case, and that is Rafinha. Now obviously Rafinha I think is another player that is suffering from how many midfielders Barcelona has. On top of that, like I said, the Paulinho addition makes it even worse. I think Rafinha is someone that is kind of wants to play more minutes, and also I think that he's looking at the World Cup that's going to happen next year, and he obviously wants to play for Brazil, but I think that he knows that in order to do that he has to play more minutes in Barcelona, and because of how much competition Barcelona has right now in the middle of the field, he doesn't really see that happening. Also Rafinha is suffering from some injuries that has stopped him from being on the field, and also I think that is the reason why there has not been that many clubs after Rafinha. Barcelona has wanted to sell him for 30 million euros, but they have not really got that many offers close to that. I think if he does leave, he's gonna leave on a loan with maybe an option to buy him next year, but right now, like I said again, teams are kind of worried about his injuries and whether if he can stay healthy or not. Now let's talk about Arda Turan. Now Arda Turan is a totally different case, I would say, with Barcelona. Barcelona has told the player already that he does not form part of the future with the club, that they were trying to find a way out for him. The biggest problem that Barcelona is facing right now is the high salary that the player has. Obviously he came from Atletico Madrid as a superstar, and I think this might have been one of the worst flops as far as signing goes for Barcelona in the last couple of years. Arda was never able to fit into the Barcelona style playing, so that kind of affected him to develop, I would say, as a player. He never showed what he showed in Atletico Madrid, so now I think he's coming to an end. The only offer that he kind of has right now on the table is a loan to Galatasaray with maybe an option to buy him next year. Again, the biggest problem with this player is his salary, and I think more than likely Barcelona is definitely gonna end up losing money in this negotiation as well. Now quickly let's talk about other players that are kind of in the same situation, I would say, of leaving. Munir is someone that obviously last year Barcelona sold him into a loan to Valencia, but there he also was able to, I would say, find a spot in the team, so he came back to Barcelona. Again, Barcelona is trying to send another loan or sell him for 20 million euros. I think more than likely it's going to be a loan. I think the two teams that are after Munir are Roma and Ajax, and that is really the option that they have right now. I don't really think no one's going to pay 20 million euros for Munir right now, so more than likely he's gonna leave on a loan. Now another player is Douglas. I think Douglas has been a player that Barcelona has tried to get rid of since the day that they signed him. I think this was probably one of the worst signings that Barcelona has done in maybe the last 10 years. I think the player played like 5 games in Barcelona, and since then almost every single year Barcelona has tried to get rid of the player, but obviously no one really wants to sign someone like that. They want him for a loan or something like that, so we will see. Maybe he leaves another year in the loan and he comes back to Barcelona next year. I wouldn't be surprised. Like I said again, Douglas has been that type of player throughout his whole career in Barcelona. Now let's talk about Marlon. Now Marlon is a young talent Brazilian player, obviously a defender. He's the 4th defender in the club right now. I think that the only way that he leaves is if Inigo Martinez, someone that has been rumored to join Barcelona, finally joins. I think that would be the reason why he will leave. If that doesn't happen, I feel like Marlon is definitely going to stay in Barcelona as the 4th defender. Another player is Vermaelen. Vermaelen again is like similar to Douglas. I would say Barcelona has always wanted to get rid of the player, but because of injuries and his injury history, I think that no one really wants to, I would say, pay for the player. There are some teams in the Premier League that are looking at Vermaelen, but it's almost like a final option if nothing really comes through. I think some of them might be moving into Vermaelen, but again, it's also for maybe a loan, not really a buy. So we will see what Barcelona does with Vermaelen. More than likely, I think he's gonna end up staying in the club this year, I think, honestly. And the last player I want to talk about is Denis Suarez. Again, Denis Suarez kind of suffering as well with how much competition in the middle of the field Barcelona has right now. But something positive going for him is that Valverde seems to like him and seems to be willing to give him some minutes. So I don't really see him leaving the club just because of that, just because I think Valverde sees him as a key piece for the club. And also because there's not that many offers for Denis Suarez. So I think that he's more than likely going to stay in the club at the end. So yeah guys, I just want to inform you guys on those players from Barcelona. Obviously they're not big name players, but there are some of them that I would say will affect Barcelona. I would say especially Sergio Roberto. If he leaves, I think that will be something that Barcelona will definitely feel. But let's move on to another club, and another club I want to talk about is PSG. They also are getting rid of some players. So finally today there was a deal reached between Juventus and PSG for Matuidi, and this has been a player that I would say Juventus has always been going after, and I think that now the PSG is in a position where they kind of need to sell some players because of the financial fair play rules. They kind of need to have a higher income than what they have right now, so they're willing to let some players go, and Matuidi is one of them. I also don't think it's a bad sell, honestly. I mean, Matuidi is already 30 years old, so getting, I would say, 18.2 million for him, I think is actually a good sell, especially when it's not really a key piece of the team. They obviously have players that can replace that position, so I honestly think that this deal kind of worked well for both teams. Now another player that left the club is also Jose Rodriguez. I think Jose has been someone that has suffered through injuries. I remember watching him when he used to play in Real Madrid. I used to thought that, wow, this kid has something, because he has the same style playing, like I would say, like a Neymar. But because of injuries, I think he was never able to develop in Real Madrid. Obviously after that he went to PSG. There I think he kind of suffered with some injuries as well, and also was not able to find, I would say, his place in the club. And now that they obviously got Neymar, it's even worse for him, because like I said again, he plays in the same position as Neymar, so obviously he basically lost his spot in the club. Now they are sending him on a loan to Stoke City, where I feel like he can actually renew his career if he is able to stay out of injuries. I think he's someone that can honestly develop to be a really good player. He's still pretty young, he's only 24, so this is definitely a positive addition, I would say, to Stoke City. Obviously if he can stay healthy, then I think they'll be getting a really young, talented and underrated player, honestly, in Jose. Now let's move on to the last news of the day, and the last news has to deal with Alexis Sanchez. So in the beginning of the summer, I would say Manchester City was going after Alexis Sanchez, but because of PSG interest also on Alexis Sanchez, things kind of die out, and it seems to be that City kind of move away from the player. But now they seem to be willing to do a last push before the market closes, and they're actually offering Arsenal 65 million euros for the player. Now Arsenal is not really willing to sell the player. They actually offer Alexis Sanchez to make him one of the best players paid in the Premier League, but Alexis Sanchez did not accept that yet. It seems to be that he also wants a deal where he can move to somewhere else to win some titles. And I think that Manchester City will be a great place for him. It also seems to be that Guardiola really likes Alexis Sanchez. I mean, he liked Alexis Sanchez even back in the day when he brought him into Barcelona from Udinese. I think back in the day they also paid like 50 million euros Barcelona for Alexis Sanchez. Obviously, I think now he's a way more mature player. I think he developed a lot more. He's a top class forward, I would say, in the Premier League. So honestly, I don't think it's a bad deal. 65 million euros for a player of that class, especially in this market where everything is going over 100 million euros. It would not be a bad deal for Manchester City. We will see if Arsenal finally lets the player go and accept the offer. So yeah guys, that's all the news that I got for you guys today. Obviously today is the second match of the Supercopa between Real Madrid and Barcelona. Like I told you guys before, definitely nothing is impossible when you have someone like Messi, but I do feel that the counter-attack of Real Madrid is gonna be way too much for the team to handle, and I think that Real Madrid is gonna end up being the champions. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I hope you guys have a great day, guys. Take care, guys. Peace.